Got him.
That's recording there. It's a bit tangled. I don't really need to worry about that. That sounds good. If you want to do the clicker,
Yeah.
you can do that to that camera there. We're not really looking at the cameras.
No, I just lost you. That. Oh, hang on.
Oh, is that
Yeah, now I got you.
it?
Yeah.
We're good. You can do that in there.
All right, we're good.
Boom, boom, go. All right, here we go. Grant Allen, what'd you have for breakfast?
What did I have for breakfast? Nothing.
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 You're one of those people that fast in the morning. You keeping your weight down, or
Just can't really be bothered eating in the morning, so just get up and go. So yeah.
fair enough.
It's
Tell us, step us back to the early days from, give us a bit of run through. When you're about 5-ish till ending high school. Spend a bit of time walking through that.
Yeah, right. Well, I guess starting out, I grew up in the country. So I grew up in a little place called Auburn, which is about an hour and a half out of, I guess like Adelaide CBD, so in South Australia. Grew up with a younger brother. Parents lived on, I guess, kind of a farm just outside of the town and things like that. Just pretty normal sort of kid. And I guess, just like as kids do, you find your way through, life, and you find your thing and what you like, what you enjoy doing. And I guess being on the farm and just having lots of space, like bikes were always a thing. And I guess like that's something that I found pretty early on. Like I can remember getting my first BMX when I was 5, and literally it was just like probably from there it was something that like I always enjoyed. Like just something that I always like felt was my thing, and it became like more and more so my thing, like particularly through high school especially. Like I guess like just before high school, like it was something that was really strong, and particularly I guess probably around those formative years of, like 12, 13, and going on from there. It was pretty evident that bikes were a really, big part of my life, and the thing that I enjoyed, the most more than anything, I guess. Like everything sort of, really revolved around it, and it just became more and more so. And I guess I started to realize, I don't know, like I was pretty isolated just in terms of, like, I mean, my brother rode a bike a bit and stuff, and a few other kids rode and stuff, but I guess like back then there was no internet, even magazines were hard to come by and things like that. And so, you pick up like a BMX Plus, like maybe you were lucky enough that you'd find one in a newsagent somewhere if you went to the city or something like that kind of thing. And I guess, finding that sort of stuff and seeing, other people doing, what you enjoy doing as well. And I guess seeing those other influences and emulating it. And I guess then as I sort of went into my teenage years, things like, I guess like video, like VHS tapes. And I guess that's where, like definitely like with what you were doing, and everything was like a huge part of my, my youth and my, teenage years and things like that. And I think, coming across, like finding what you were doing, with Volatile Visions, and I guess seeing, from afar, I guess like the Adelaide, seeing the big city, and all the other, big guys, I guess, and things, and, not being a part of that, but wanting to be a part of it, and I guess, seeing, videos from overseas, magazines, all that sort of stuff was, I guess sort of something that drove me sort of, further and further down the rabbit warren of riding bikes and, loving it and living it, I guess, really. So
What year, like, was that, 90? What year was those years? What year were you finishing 11, 12? Did you finish year 11, 12?
Like I guess it was probably even earlier than that. Like I can remember particularly probably like around, like I suppose, like a few sort of things I really remember, like probably around 1993. I particularly remember seeing, like a lot of mountain bike stuff. Like I was always BMX, but like I always loved all types of bikes and stuff. But I guess like, like everything was really strong, I guess, there kind of thing. But I can particularly remember seeing like the Minjin crew from Cairns on Pepsi Max Extremis with Glenn Jacobs, Michael Ronning, and I guess Sean Carroll, and just just like lots of those
Mud
guys.
cows.
Yeah,
The
all
mud
the,
cows,
all the
correct.
mud cows. Yeah, like the Minjin guys. Just and just seeing that and just thinking like this stuff's wild. And then I remember as well just especially watching like your stuff with Volatile and everything, and just seeing and hearing like the music was a big thing as well. Like music was always a big thing in videos, but seeing and hearing like local bands, and I guess that formed a big part of my whole existence, and still to this day, I guess like who I am as a person and things like that. Just I guess I have really fond memories of watching Hyper, and hearing Mark of Cain, and Mark of Cain, they're
There's so much
fucking
energy. Yeah.
fucking wicked band, like so good. And like it's funny, like now, like I talk to one of the guys like him from the band a little bit here and there, and ran into him a number of times. He's a bike rider as well and gets it, and just it's funny like just how everything turns full circle, I guess.
It
So
suited it, like the power, the energy of what they were doing just seemed to fit perfectly with bikes and that action.
And I still remember, like there's things that always sort of stick out for me, I think, like through all of my life, like with bikes, whether it's like my own things that I've done or other things. But I can particularly remember there's one bit in Hyper where just, I guess that there's a really kick-ass bit in Interloper, like with one of the tracks used in that video, and Ben Whitlock just comes storming through just like in a cloud of dust, and it's just like this big flash pan shot. And like I still think back to that shot, and I've said this to you, I know before.
That's the right hand turn. It was the top of the track, and he's just kind of pedaling straight towards us, and there was a left hand turn. A lot of people crashed on that left hand dusty turn. Whitlock's just powering into it,
massively just ripping through it. And I've said this to you, it's just like I still have it like, in my mind, like, just emulating that shot somewhere, like, even on my own bike now. It's just like, it's such a classic, just I don't know, like a wicked, bit of editing, with the music and the riding, just everything fitting, and just being like, oh, like, you see something like that, and it just gives you goosebumps, and like, let's fucking ride. So,
Yeah, cool. So your step back to your finishing high school. Like, what was happening when you were finishing high school? What did you think you were going to be at that time?
All I wanted to do was, I guess like leave the country and get down to, I guess Adelaide and be around bikes really. I finished school in 1997. I literally finished school on Friday. I never wanted to do uni or anything like that, and had a job like lined up to work in a bike shop. I literally finished school on the Friday and started work on the Monday, and that was it. So
What shop was that?
It was Elizabeth Star Cycle. So so it was.
I think I've got footage of you running around the shop on a monkey bike there.
And so it was wicked. I guess just like starting there was just like a foot in the door to like meeting, I guess like lots of the really good BMX guys from back then, like Kim Grosser, Dwayne Golding, and Josh Payson, and Russell Tranter, and Terry Durham, and Mick Bazan. And Mick ended up sort of he was living really close to where I was living and stuff, and so literally it'd just be like I would work, and then just get home, and literally just as soon as I'd finish work, I'd be on my bike, just out riding, until it was dark or after, just every night, just something. And it was always missions, and just going around, digging, always finding new spots or things that we could ride, whether it was street or most of it for me was like just dirt jumps, just wanting that sort of stuff. And I guess like that was the end of school, and meeting those guys was kind of pretty cool because I'd seen them all in videos and stuff, and then it's like, okay, cool, like we're I get to hang out with you guys and ride and stuff. And a lot of those guys are still, really good friends, now to this day and stuff. Like, it's awesome. So,
were you more on a BMX or a mountain bike then?
That was still BMX back then. So, like literally I was like BMX sort of all the way through until, I think, when did I get my first mountain bike was, oh man, I got to think now. Put me on the spot. It would have been literally around about, probably like about, it would have been like 1999. So it was, the first bike I ever had, like proper mountain bike anyway. I had a couple of, like shitty ones just like as a teenager and stuff like that. But, my first proper one that I had was a little giant chromoly hardtail. yeah, and that was probably like about 1999. And I remember sort of going out. My brother was actually riding mountain bikes sort of before, and I remember going out to a downhill race to watch him, and I had something wrong. I had a busted foot or something like that kind of thing, and I couldn't ride, but went out to watch him and stuff, and went out and watched. It's just like, man, like, like I reckon I can do this better. So yeah, and that's kind of where it all started. So yeah, I think there's always been that for me. Like I've always like just wanted to push. Like that was always the thing, with BMX, and just like as a kid, like through high school and stuff, I was always digging and building jumps, and just always wanting to build stuff bigger and bigger, seeing things in videos, and just wanting to be, the person that was pushing the envelope and doing something bigger than, and doing things that other people wouldn't. That was always, a driving factor, just doing things that others couldn't and others wouldn't, I guess, kind of thing. So.
And you weren't really into the racing, like for back then, mountain bike was, or in Adelaide, it was, you had cross country or downhill, and sometimes we'd have some slalom events. But racing was that a big thing, or it was just, there's a race, that's just something else?
It was just a way to be involved. Like back then, that was the scene, I guess. There was like the racing and stuff, and it was just more about getting around, and so different, like bikes now, there's a bazillion people with, a bike that's worth 10 grand or more kind of thing. And back then, like everyone knew everyone. Everyone knew whose bike was whose bike. And, if someone had an expensive bike, everyone knew about it kind of thing.
New bits.
Yeah, that's it. But, like now everyone has a bike and stuff. But yeah, I guess racing still sort of back then, like in the early days of Inside Line, was, just about dudes riding bikes, having beers, bongs.
Yeah. Who came first didn't really matter.
Yeah, I don't know. It was more or less like, I guess like that racing stuff, the early days of the mountain bike was kind of cool, just because it was about everyone getting around and having a crack or whatever. And yeah, I don't know. It kind of changed as well. Kind of got a bit,
no definitely. Camp trailer, like you were getting towed up the hill,
on
to the back of a Land Rover.
Yeah, like literally, like just like 10 dudes stuff in the back of an F-250, just with bikes and whatever strewn everywhere. And yeah, no one gave a shit.
Where were some of those events, some of those locations that remind you of that time?
Yeah, like I guess like Kersbrook is like my first sort of memory ever of going to see mountain bike racing, and then probably doing mountain bike racing. I can't actually remember where my first mountain bike race was. I reckon it was probably, actually it might have been even like a dual slalom at Clare. I reckon I did one of those there when they had
the weekends out there.
Yeah, one up there perhaps. But yeah, I guess like, thinking back to those early days, like a mountain bike racing here in Adelaide, yeah, like Kersbrook was definitely one, Fox Creek. I guess like they're the main ones I can sort of, think of from my own personal sort of end of things really. So yeah, but I mean, they're all spots that are still there now, I guess, markedly different, just thanks to, I guess all the things that change, fires and just, like forest being cut and harvested, all that sort of thing. Everything's different. So, but they're still, still there. It's kind of funny. You go into Kersbrook and like it's just, like I can remember sort of, first times, ever going in there and, the trees being really tall, and now there's like no trees, like in that same sort of spot kind of thing. But that'll change as well. So, yeah.
Did you do much interstate travel back then?
Yeah, interstate travel was wicked as well. So, particularly, I remember doing like a few trips to Canberra and stuff like that. I never really went to, like I guess like Thredbo or any of the, the stuff like in the Victorian high country. But yeah, particularly remember doing like a few trips over to Canberra that were,
Tell us about some Canberra stories. Go on.
Oh, Canberra! I can probably my actually this is probably like one of my favourite memories of like going on a bike trip and stuff. Actually, was going to Canberra. I reckon it was in year 2000, and we you were there, Zol, and there was like a whole bunch of Adelaide crew sort of that went over and everything, and I think Nari drove over in his Kingswood with a trailer of bikes and things, and I don't know, like good times. But I remember particularly, we were staying in a backpackers, which is a relatively newly open sort of backpackers hostel in Canberra, and I guess all the mountain bikers just literally took over this place, and It was loose. Like, everything back then was loose and wild kind of thing. But I
You
remember
get fireworks and firecrackers in Canberra back then, didn't you?
fireworks especially. But yeah, like literally just I remember the backpackers like staying there, and yeah, there was one night where they put on a happy hour, which was the worst decision they could have ever made. When the place was literally just like filled up with mountain bikers and everyone being in the bar, and for some reason they had beer barrels that had like all like beer nuts or monkey nuts like on the top of the table. And first, like it started out pretty sort of, mild or whatever, like someone might drop like a peanut or a beer nut, whatever, in someone's drink. And like literally by the end of it, there were people with whole handfuls of nuts just throwing them at people behind the bar as they were trying to fill up jugs of beer. And just, I don't know. And the bar staff sort of getting like pretty over it and wanting to shut it down. I remember there was an open mic there, and I think that was like the funniest bit. There was an open mic for karaoke, and when the bar got shut down, I remember I'd had a lot to drink, and we'd all been listening to Fugelman CD like all the way over kind of thing. And after like everything got shut down, I got up and I grabbed the mic and I started rapping like the Tour de Fugelman track. And these people came up to me afterwards that were just like legit backpackers that didn't know that we were just a bunch of fucking idiots. And these people are like, "Oh man, like you an MC, like you," and all the other guys are like, "Oh yeah, he's like a wicked MC, blah blah blah," just laughing. But yeah, it was pretty wild. So yeah.
And so mountain bikes was just fun. All of it was fun for a long time. And then at some point you started to take it a bit more seriously, or when remember when you thought, actually, I want to fucking have a crack at this? Like,
yeah, I guess like it was always the sort of thing where, like again, like I was just always really keen to push, like just doing big things, and like it was fun, just pushing the envelope on, whatever was possible and stuff. And I can remember like at that same sort of time, like around, probably about 2000, seeing one of the big films sort of come out from overseas called New World Disorder, and I was just like, fuck, like these dudes, like are all doing like the same sort of stuff as what I'm doing, but like I reckon I'm doing stuff that's every bit as good and maybe even better. Yeah. And so with that, it happened just to sort of coincide with, at the time, there was an event. The first year it happened, it was just like an Australian sort of event, and it was called the All Terrain Mountain Bike Challenge in Jindabyne. And then that sort of happened, and we went over, and that was all well and good kind of thing. And it kind of got a little bit of notice and traction. And the next year it turned into a Red Bull event, which was a pretty big deal. So yeah, Red Bull Ride. With that, like all of, like I guess like the big name sort of, pros and stuff from Canada and America and like I guess through Europe and everything, all came over to Australia for this big event. And this is like, the first big Red Bull sort of mountain bike event, even before, I guess like,
what year do you think?
That was like 2001, sorry. So 2001.
23 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And so they built this really, like it was a full on course, like big sort of like technical rock sections and obstacles and stuff in there. And I guess like the whole crown jewel at the bottom of it was this big scaffold drop that they put sort of at the bottom. And I guess it was the sort of thing where everyone looked at it and everyone was just like, fuck, like, most people just like were just like, nah, like it's, it's too big, can't be done or whatever kind of thing. And like, I mean, I saw it and it was kind of like a red rag to a bull, especially like hearing everyone else saying that, like it won't work or it can't be done. I was just like, man, like this is my chance to stand up like in front of everyone and, and show everyone what I can do. And I guess like it was an unknown, like no one knew who I was or anything like that. And I guess.
And that was probably one of the biggest, manufactured drop, safe drop, filmed drop kind of thing. That was at the time. I don't think there was anything bigger anywhere in the world, was there?
No, like at the time, like it was heavy. Like it was a big deal. Like there was, I guess like stuff that people were doing, in film, like was cool and everything. But this was certainly, something that was really, like right up there. So it was,
Who were some of the other bigger names at that event?
Yeah, so I guess probably like one of the biggest ones was Wade Simmons, and Wade, I guess, is like pretty well known, like as the guy from back then, like as the one that was doing, all the, the crazy gnarly stuff. Dave Watson was there, Richie Schley, all the old school, I guess the original sort of, late 90s, early 2000s sort of big name sort of free riders, Robbie Borden as well. Yeah, Tarek Razuli and stuff. Like there were, all the, look, I mean, it was a really, strong cast of, of riders that was sort of assembled there and everything.
But you weren't necessarily fussed about the whole track. You just saw that bit and go, fucking that's mine.
Yeah, the drop especially, like that was my thing. It's just like, and that was the thing that was going to make the statement as well. And it was, like on the practice day, it was pretty sick. Like just literally, I guess like the people, we'd been practicing and riding like some jumps and stuff. And one of the guys, Derek Westerlin, who's the film producer for all the New World Disorder series, like he sort of came over and spoke to me and was just like, like, oh, hey, like, like you're riding pretty good or whatever kind of thing. And, just having a chat. And I was riding a Kona bike and stuff as well. And Kona were, like I guess like one of the major sort of sponsors of your films and things. And he sort of had a bit of a chat to me and stuff, which was rad. And, he was asking a little bit about the course or whatever. And, just talking about like, that big drop that was on the course. And I'm just like, oh, like, like, I'm going to do it. And he was like, like, what do you mean? And I'm just like, oh, like, I'm literally going to do it. And he was like, oh, okay. And, kind of like that was that or whatever. And then
this little Aussie punk, what does he bloody think?
Yeah, I don't think he wasn't really quite sure how to take it or whatever kind of thing. And then Rowan, like good mate of mine, Rowan, like we just always did stuff together. And like he and I were there. And I sort of said to him, it's like, oh, like, I'm gonna like do this. And so he was like, like you got it, like let's go, and we sort of went over, and I just sort of said to Derek and like the guys that he was with, like working with there, and just like, oh, like I'm going to do this thing. And, then all of a sudden, like everyone knew that I was doing it, and sort of walking over there, and literally like they shut the whole place down. Like, it was all music going and everything, and they turned the music off because I think they thought someone was going to die.
Adding the pressure.
Yeah, that's it. And it was kind of like on the side of a hill, and like further away, there was like a road, which is like a vantage point for watching or whatever kind of thing. And there were people all over there and stuff and watching and everything. And I sort of just calmly went over there and just like rolled up and sort of like just had a couple of roll-ins at it just to make sure it was right for me and everything. And then everyone was watching on, and I just rolled off the edge and stomped it and rolled away kind of thing. I was hyped on it. Like, it was good. Like, it was a wicked feeling. And just the place went bonkers. Like, everyone was like all quiet, and then you literally hear people yelling everywhere. And it was funny. Like, it ended up on TV, like back then, like on the nightly news, there was like Sports Tonight segment, and it was like play of the day and stuff. And everyone saw it. Like, like there was no internet back then or anything. So people were ringing me and just like, oh, we saw you on the news, like.
How did that feel? How did that feel? Like that night you went and lied down in your bed. Do you remember how it felt that afternoon?
I think I'd had about 16 Red Bulls because there was no water. So I was pretty.
So you didn't sleep at all?
No, I was buzzing. Yeah, it was wicked. Like, it was really like a really big catalyst for me. It was just like that sort of, it was just like, this is the sort of thing that, like, I love, and I want, I want more of this now. Like, like that's,
And you found a new limit, and you go, yeah, actually, okay.
Yeah.
Now we can find another one.
Yeah, and like, I mean, that was the start of it. Then Derek sort of was just like, fuck, like that was sick. He's just like, you got to come to Canada like straight away. Like, these people are going to sponsor you, like, just don't worry about anything, like this will be paid for and whatever. Just like, you just need to get over here, and, we want you in the film. So I was just like, man, like, this is crazy.
So then you got invited to go and film for, what was that, New World Disorder? Which one was it?
So that was like, I think it was New World Disorder. Yeah, New World Disorder 3. So that was the first film that I was in. And so basically sort of, over to Canada from there. And that was it. So like off and into it from there. And that was, my first time, ever going overseas. So off to Canada, and riding bikes and
How'd that end up? What'd you do? How long were you over there for?
Yeah, look, I was actually not over there that long. I was over there, just for, it must have been only like a few weeks. And then I had a really big crash and, came up short on a road gap while we were filming. And, managed to break my leg and stuff, or my foot, and made a mess of myself. And
is that gap still,
No,
is that
it's
one
not
of these
there.
ones that people are trying to relive again?
No, it's actually, like right in where the landing is now, there's a vineyard been planted and stuff. So, so someone actually sent me a photo of it like only a little while back, like an Canadian guy that reached out to me on social media, and was just like, oh, like this is where, like Gillard Road Gap used to be. And it's just like, fuck, like it's just like a vineyard like planted there now and stuff. So, so it's gone. So, forever gone. So,
Where else did bikes take you? What other places did bikes take you to?
Yeah, look, I guess like I've been really lucky. Like bikes have taken me all over the world, like all through, Canada, America and Europe, New Zealand. I don't know, like I've really, done so much and have so much to be grateful for, all just for, riding a bike and stuff, really. So it's pretty crazy just to think. So, yeah.
And who were you doing, elaborate a little bit more on, so New Zealand, when did you go there? What did you do over there?
Yeah, so New Zealand, we went there. I think that was, we had a really good trip over there. Actually, New Zealand's pretty sick because, I guess like a lot of people know of Dream Track over there and stuff, which is like such a big thing now. Like I guess like they have like big events there now, like, like all, like I guess a lot of the North American and European pros go to New Zealand, for summer, and everyone goes to Queensland and, wants to ride Dream Track. The jumps are, the biggest public jumps in the world basically and stuff. And when we went over in 2004, it was like literally Nathan Greenwood was the guy behind it, and he built the original Dream Track. And it was built for us to film for New World Disorder. I think it was for like New World Disorder, maybe 4 or 5, something like that. I can't remember the exact one, but it was built for us, like to ride and to shoot.
And what were some of the features that they had in that?
Yeah, like a lot of the stuff is still there now. Like like really big sort of doubles, step downs, road gaps.
I mean, now you see hardline, like there's big 90, 100-foot jumps. Back then, like how big were roughly, would you guess some of those jumps were?
Yeah, I guess like the bottom part of Dream was pretty big still. Like at the bottom there was a jump that I guess like the ending sort of part of it, there was a double, which then went into a road gap. But like the double sort of feeding into the road gap is probably the best part of like 60 or more feet kind of thing. So it was a big jump, like big jump. But I can remember sort of, that trip, like everything just clicked, like everything was good. Like I was just really, really, really dialed with everything and just felt amazing on the bike and everything just worked. And I can remember there was like a really cool sort of section at the start of Dream where there was like a big sort of double, but it was kind of, it was hipped and it was hipped to the right kind of thing. And it was wicked just to sort of, like throw a big whip or a table off of kind of thing. But like I was just feeling like super on, and like I was able to rip these big no-foot cans like off that same jump. They were all twisted and they looked really good, and everyone was just like, fuck, like, like it's cool just to sort of, jump that jump, and even just the style is sick. But then
just put tricks in it.
Yeah, that's it. And there was another really, really big road gap that was just like a one-off thing that was there that no one else hit or anything. And it was just like I only hit it, like I think I hit it like, I reckon I hit it twice. And like the first time it was a really big, just like one-off thing, and I hit it and sort of popped like up into the air. It had like a really cool kind of kicky sort of booter that sort of lifted you up into the air kind of thing. And I hit it, and I remember sort of doing it and just being like, oh, this is perfect, but just kind of like froze and like went stiff or whatever, just because it was like, it was big, and just not knowing or whatever. And then everyone was psyched on it and stuff, and I was like, no, like, I need to like clean that thing back up and go again. And went up and just like laid this big boosted like whip over it kind of thing, and everyone was just like, whoa. And like I still look at that photo of it, and it's a cool picture. And a few of the I guess like some of the younger guys over there, like know of it and everything, and know where it is. And it's, I don't think it operates now or anything, but they know of it, and they're just like that thing's fucking sick. So yeah, it's cool.
I'm going to check this other camera's rolling. Tell us about who did you ride with in Adelaide? What was happening in Adelaide to lead you, to give you the confidence to do all that other stuff? Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, I guess like riding in Adelaide, you know, like I sort of mentioned earlier, like some of the, like I guess like early days of like the BMX guys and stuff, you know, just like with all the northern suburbs sort of crew, just like in terms of, Josh, Kim, Dwayne, Mick, Russell, Terry, like all those guys, like they were pretty good, like, you know, I guess like pretty good in terms of just real dudes, like real hard as well. Like, you know, like just, you know, like we would ride, you know, you'd eat shit, you know, and just the whole thing was you just get back up and do it again kind of thing. And I know like some of those guys, like, like Josh and Dwayne, like I've not seen, you know, guys like eat shit that hard.
Animals.
Just get back up and do it again kind of thing repeatedly. And, you know, and that was, like definitely, you know, a thing, you know, there was no room for softness. You know, everyone just had to be hard. You know, you'd take the hits kind of thing. But yeah, and then I guess like, you know, moving on like in mountain bike days, I was really lucky just like in terms of having the group. You know, I don't know, like we just sort of all really, like kind of came together just like in terms of, you know, like yourself, you know, and then Marshy and then Dean and Rowan really. That was the crew. And I guess like it was always the sort of thing where we'd just be out, like, you know, riding bikes and having fun, just on missions. You know, it'd be always just like looking for stuff, like looking for something weird or something, you know, fun or stupid to ride kind of thing, or just looking for stupid things to do, you know, just the way it should be, you know.
If the weather was no good, we're going to do something else. Roll rocks down a hill or something.
Yeah, exactly. Just like, you know, roll up and put council jackets on and direct traffic. So somewhere before the days of YouTube pranks and things like that or whatever, it's just like we'd just, I don't know, just do stuff like that kind of thing. It was probably lucky that there wasn't the internet or phones around for some of the stuff that happened or whatever, I guess, kind of thing. So, but I guess no, everything was just really real, like really real and just fun, you know. And it was, you know, I think a big part of it, like I often talk to some people when, you know, people ask about some of the stuff, and there used to be so much stuff that we would do, you know, when it was just for the sake of doing it, you know, not even, you know, filming it or anything like that. It's just like, you know, like filming stuff is cool and whatever. But there was so much stuff that we did where it was just like, you know, only, you know, the five of us would see it.
Get in a couple of cars and just drive somewhere. I think I saw this fucking thing on someone's paddock somewhere.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. And then go and do it. And then just like, you know, literally, you know, someone will do something and then the other four of us will be just like, fuck.
Someone's got to do it. Oh, fucking he did it, then I better do it.
Yeah.
They'll do different things like the moon.
Yeah.
So the moon was so good because you'd had so many, you could show so many different styles. It was in that cool little spot. Tell us about the moon.
That was, like a really cool quarry that I think Dean and Rowan happened on when they were out on one of their illegal motorbike riding adventures.
What? What's that? Did they?
Potentially.
I didn't know.
Or maybe Rowan just found it stumbling around. But it was a pretty cool little spot, just like that old kind of like unused quarry. Just, you know, it was wicked just in terms of like such variance in terms of, you know, like different things to ride, you know, just gaps, drops, jumps, you know, steeps, whatever kind of thing. And it was fun, like just really, really fun stuff to ride, and, you know, just pushing each other there as well. And, you know, everyone sort of finding, you know, new limits with it and things as well. So like super cool. I can remember, just pushing Dean into, like there was like a pretty big drop that was there, and like I did it, and then Rowan eventually sort of did it. And Dean, I can remember Dean just like, you know, like, just like having sort of run after run, sort of like in at it, you know, just to sort of try and, like actually get it. And he kept just like pulling out and chickening out and everything. And then him finally doing it and stomping it like with one leg off because he was not quite committed or whatever kind of thing, and just really surprising himself, being like, fuck, like, you know, like, I did it. And it's just like, yeah, we told you, you know, like, you had that thing for ages. And then, yeah, like after that, he was good with it and everything. But it was sick, like seeing him, you know, like go through what he had to go through to actually, you know, do it. But, you know, being his mate and backing him and telling him, you know, like, yeah, like it's good, you know, like it's going to work and you've got it, you know, like we know you can do it. And then seeing him do it, you know, it was sick. So, yeah.
That messing with your head, just playing with your mind. It's like,
yeah,
you just got to commit, you just got to go. But
I reckon I can remember you did like a pretty cool edit of it, and the track was Baby Steps by Hilltops, and literally just like Dean just like inching at it, stopping, inching at it, stopping, going back up, and just like over and over, but then just getting it. So yeah. But yeah, I guess it's that thing of just, you know, all getting around your mates and doing your thing, and I don't know, like it's fun that we did film, you know, like a lot of stuff back then, but I just think back of like all the stuff that we didn't film, and it's kind of cool in a lot of ways as well. Like some of the stuff that didn't get filmed, you know, just like it lives in folklore, you know, like it's just like it's etched in certain people's minds, and yeah, I don't know, like that's kind of cool as well. So yeah.
So who inspired you, or when you were growing up, was there figures, was there sports people or someone that you aspired to, you know, they inspired you?
I don't know. I don't reckon that there was anyone really, like so much in particular that, you know, inspired me. I think, you know, like seeing some of those, you know, like the US BMX videos and stuff like that, probably seeing Matt Hoffman, like was definitely one where it was just like, man, like the dude's just like pushing, you know, like that was pretty cool. But like there's not, I don't know, I don't really think that there was anyone in particular that I really sort of, you know, think back to and just sort of think, yeah, like, you know, he was the one, you know, that I wanted to be or wanted to be like. I saw, you know, people do cool things, and I just wanted to do cool things as well, I guess. And yeah, I couldn't really pinpoint like one particular person or anything like that, really. I think I was pretty happy to sort of try and, yeah, do my own thing as well, which I think is probably good. You know, a lot of people try and, you know, I don't know, I think, you know, like a lot of young people now perhaps try and sort of see someone and emulate that or whatever, but it's just like, just do your own thing, you know, let it go and, yeah, just be you. So, yeah.
And what's your thing now, today? Where are you at 2024? You know,
yeah.
20-odd years later, 25-odd years later.
Look, bikes are still my thing. Bikes my thing, but I think, you know, like one thing that like I've always enjoyed though is sharing the joy of bikes, you know, with people, whether that's just, you know, like mates or literally I can remember like one day, like you'll remember this, we would just like hang around in Blackwood, like out riding, and we found a couple of young kids and just like they knew who we were and everything and wanted to come riding with us. And do you remember when we took them out to the moon and we took do you remember that?
Yeah, I've forgotten a lot of things. I'm not sure if I do.
Well, maybe it was with Dean and Rowan. Maybe you weren't there. But yeah, I can remember these young kids that were just like frothers, just like loving it. And they'd seen like videos or whatever. And we're just like, oh, like, fuck, like, we'll go out like to the, you know, the quarry, like the moon or whatever, and like come with us. And they did. And yeah, like they loved it or whatever. It was like cool. But just getting around people and bikes, like getting them hyped on it and sharing in that joy is wicked. But I don't know, like I'm super lucky now. Like, I mean, like I ride obviously still now. Like, I mean, I had, obviously like people probably know, like I had an accident back in 2011 and spinal cord injury, and I ride an adaptive bike now. But yeah, I guess I'm so lucky just in terms of, you know, my day to day is literally just helping people, you know, with bikes still, you know, with the adaptive bikes and stuff like that through work. And yeah, like literally, like I was only driving here and talking to a guy, like coming here to catch up with you, Zol, and, you know, like a guy, you know, called me on the phone, knew like a motocross guy, knew just spinal cord injury, and he'd just ridden, you know, a bowhead adaptive bike, you know, on one of his first rides, and had like a bazillion questions, and, you know, spent nearly 40 minutes on the phone to him just talking about how fucking cool bikes are, you know, and just, you know, like what he's got to look forward to and everything. And yeah, just getting to help people with that sort of stuff. Like, I love helping people, you know, that's a cool thing. And if you can share in that, you know, with people, I think, you know, you can't put a price on that. Like I just feel really, really lucky, to be able to do that and say that that's my job. And yeah, I don't know, I make a living from doing it. It's crazy.
So now you're on an adaptive bike, but that didn't happen straight. How long did it take you to get a bike like you've got today? Like how long was that process?
Yeah, so it's crazy like that as well, because like, I mean, I was only having this conversation with someone today in terms of, like when I had my accident back in 2011, it's just like, like I sat out like for so long, like I sat out like literally, like, I mean, I've had the bowhead bikes now for the last sort of, what is it? Like probably like 2 or 3 years, perhaps something like that. I don't even know. I can't remember anyway, but it's not that long really, like in the scheme of things. It's probably actually only a couple of years, so not long. But
and explain to people what a bowhead bike is. Explain, if they're listening to this, explain what that bike is.
So a bowhead adaptive bike is a mountain bike for people, I guess like without the use of like their legs. So it's a 3-wheel bike, 2 wheels up the front, which lean and articulate, and then a drive wheel at the back. There's 2 versions of the bike, one that you pedal and one that has like a motor, just a throttle. So both really cool. I kind of like the pedaling one better, just because it's harder. You got to be fit, you got to be strong, and it's technically more challenging to ride as well, kind of thing. So,
and that's an electric bike. There's a bit of electric assistance in there.
There's electric assist, but like when I say there's electric assist, like it's fucking hard work still. So yeah.
And how's that different to what you've been riding 5 years before, 10 years before?
Yeah, so like they weren't there. Like the bowhead bikes, thanks to Christian, who's the inventor, literally have really only become a thing, within the last sort of 5 years. Before that, like when I was first hurt, there was nothing. There was, all there was, like for me, I guess to be involved with sport or cycling was basically to sort of do hand cycling on the road, which was fun and it was different and something good. And like I've enjoyed doing that, and it's been something different to do, but it's not mountain biking, it's not BMX, it's not
it's not the off-road, but you did pretty well at that, all things considered.
I have like without blowing my own trumpet, I've done pretty well at it.
So what did you ended up getting back into competition?
So I've raced internationally, like at World Cups, I've been to a Paralympic Games and things like that as well, and it's something that I enjoy still, but I don't know. But it's funny like that as well. Like I have really, really enjoyed, like I have some really fond memories of doing stuff on the road. I can remember one day, I was in New Zealand. I went over there at Easter with a work group and things like that. I remember like waking up before everyone and literally leaving and just like telling, everyone the night before that I was going to do, like this 230k ride, like up through all these mountains and wherever else, and everyone just like, okay, like, like not thinking I'd actually go through with it. And like literally just like waking up.
He's pissed.
Like waking up before everyone was even up and leaving, and then, coming back like home, people were ringing me just like, like, where are you? Like, are you okay? And I was like, oh yeah, like I'm half an hour away. And, like that was fun, and it's something different, you've got to be able to, like take yourself to a different place kind of thing. Like it's fucking hard. Like it can be, really hard and really challenging, but it's not mountain biking.
No, it's not, mate. So are you happy to tell us a little bit more about your accident? What happened?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, all good. It's something that like I have no problems talking to anyone about or anything like that. Like I don't, it doesn't get, doesn't upset me or anything like that. But basically I'd sort of just normal things. I'd build a really big jump like out at Fox Creek in the bike park with no permission, of course. So
there was never permission for the stuff we did.
Even now there's not.
Better to ask for forgiveness than permission.
Yeah, exactly. So, but had built this thing and had it sort of, like tucked away, like in plain sight still. But like built this thing and was just like, like I want to do this. And I guess part of it was, like I kind of had, like a ticket sort of, ready to go back to Rampage, like after not being, there for a couple of years kind of thing. And the organisers are happy to have me back there, and was just, putting together, a piece to sort of show them what I was up to, and had a heap of like cool stuff sort of all put together. And this was kind of like, I guess, like, one of the bits that was to go with it as well. But yeah, just basically big jump, road gap, sort of step down, and had a really steep sort of landing, which was cool. Like it all like felt good and felt on and everything. And yeah, like I just came into it, and it was a long way up, like a really, really sort of tall sort of drop.
Describe the construction. Describe it a little bit for us.
Yeah, so it was like really sort of cut into like dense sort of, like forest kind of thing. And yeah, there was basically like a really tight, fun little trail of like switchback sort of berm sort of built into this like a little wooden bridge sort of kicker that basically sent you out like over like foliage and then down over a road into a really steep but pretty short sort of landing, I guess, kind of thing. And then yeah, high speed run out through tight trees as well. So pretty cool, but yeah, like super technical and obviously, pretty gnarly or whatever, but it was nothing that I, wasn't accustomed to or, like wasn't confident in doing or anything like that either.
Who were you there with that day?
Oh, there was a lot of people there. So yeah, like a bunch of mates and stuff like that. So honestly, like, yeah, like I can't remember everyone that was there, but there was, yeah, like a pretty solid sort of, group of people there and everything like that. Everyone was like excited to see it. Like it was,
supportive and
yeah, that's it. And everyone, like, so it's like, oh, if he's, good to do it, he's good to do it. So, there was, and I was good to do it. There was no, yeah, like nothing sort of, in terms of pressure or whatever to do it or anything like that. It was like, it was my thing. And yeah, just basically, came into this thing and, I mean, it's always easy looking back, but just came in a little bit too hot. I remember being in the air, just being like, oh, like I'm going a bit deep on this one. And yeah, just literally sort of staying with the bike and, pressing down. And yeah, landed probably like halfway down the landing, like, like a fairway sort of down kind of thing, which was fine. And like, it was quite soft, like good sort of, not too soft or anything like that. And the bike absorbed impact and I was rolling away kind of thing. But then just with such a short run out, like at the bottom, yeah, bike just basically G'd out, like with the transition sort of where it went from the landing down onto flat. And yeah, I just got high-sided, just flung off the bike kind of thing and just sort of flipped and then just like flew over, like landed on my side, like just more or less like straight onto my hip kind of thing, like on the side, my shoulder, that type of thing. And I hit the ground hard. And I remember sort of waking up and just being like, oh, like, fuck, like that was a pretty heavy one. But like, like I know just to go a bit slower and I'll be sweet. And went to get back up and yeah, there was nothing there. Like couldn't move. So yeah. And I was just like, oh, fuck, like I'm, yeah, probably not in a good spot right now. But I particularly remember, yeah, one of my really good mates, Alex Yule, he was there. And yeah, at the time he was, yeah, in training to become a paramedic. And so he was a pretty good person to actually have sort of there. And yeah, he sort of stayed with me. And I mean, everyone did as well, but yeah, like helped keep me calm and everything like that. And yeah, I guess like, Ambo sort of arrived in terms of, road sort of transport and stuff and realised that it was pretty bad. And then the heli sort of came in from there and took me away. So yeah, and that was the start of, yeah, the new version of me basically. So yeah.
Do you remember what that first night, like, do you remember what you were thinking those first couple of days? Like, because obviously the results,
yeah,
anything could happen. Like they'll check and they'll scan and all the rest of it.
Yeah, like, I mean, I can remember that very first night, like Sunday night, like having to go through, like I guess like all the, I guess like, I guess like all of like the scans and things and stuff, and then, being told that they were going to, operate right away kind of thing. And just, you just don't know, like with
pretty
that
overwhelming.
Sort of, yeah. Oh yeah. Like, and you just don't have like any, no one can give you a definitive answer or anything like that. Like you learn that pretty quickly with spinal cord injury, that there's no definite answer. Every person is different to the next kind of thing. So, but yeah, I guess like at first, just like, oh, like maybe this will come good, like maybe it won't or whatever, but it was pretty quick to sort of realize that like, oh, like this is a pretty permanent thing and it's not ideal. So yeah, but yeah, I can remember it was like right before Easter and, like it was only like a couple of days afterwards and I was lucky to sort of get out of like the the Royal Adelaide, and I guess the more intensive care sort of, part of it, and transferred to the rehab hospital. And yeah, just like being there and, like stuck in bed over Easter and just thinking like literally like two ways, that this can go. And, it's just, I can be stale or a bottle of piss about this, like, or I can just like get the fuck on with it, like, and be the best person, that I can be. And yeah, like I couldn't see any other option, other than being, the best possible version of me. I didn't want to be stale about it, didn't want to be bitter, didn't want to be upset. I'd seen, I guess, like I think it's a pretty valid stereotype that a lot of people would have of a person in a wheelchair just being, pretty grumpy, pretty angry at the world, and just a shit person. And I was just like, if there's one thing, that any of this, like whole situation, like, is going to sort of, have to do with me or whatever, like, like I'm not going to be that person, like I'm not going to be that stale, angry at the world person that, like a lot of people, probably in, a similar situation to me can be. It does no one any favours.
Yeah, I think anyone that knows you knows that was never going to be, but it must be just incredibly difficult. And
yeah,
it's inspirational to people even still today, what you're doing today,
Yeah.
Posting my videos up there, people see your shit up there. Like, you did some cool fun. And even still today, like you do.
Yeah.
You inspire people today. Like, your attitude, it's just like, man, this life's worth living, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Like there's always, like, especially I really enjoy, like, through work, coming into contact with people, that are, like newly hurt or newly injured and things like that, and kind of in that peer support sort of space, perhaps, kind of thing. And, yeah, it's just like the sort of thing that I just tell them, like right away. If there's one thing that, like when it happens to someone or whatever that, like is definitely true for everyone, shit always gets better. So yeah, everything gets better.
And so where are you working? Where are you now? Tell us a bit about what you do now.
Yeah, so I work for a company called Push Mobility, and I run a space here in Adelaide. And yeah, like I guess what we do is basically I guess disability related products, whether it's a wheelchair or an adaptive bike or a surfboard, a paddle board, a sports wheelchair, a sex seat, whatever really. We do some funny stuff. So, but it's just, like I guess, Shane.
I don't want to picture you on the sex seat.
No, you don't need to.
If Dan and Ryan were here, we'd have a good laugh about it.
No, like it's, like Shane, who owns the business, is really cool, and just, he just lets me do my thing, which is wicked. Like he just, like sees that, like I, like to help people, and it's just, I don't know. We always sort of say that, like we don't actually sell stuff to people. We just show them stuff and, offer help, and, like if that makes someone's lives better, then, we're all for it. So
thing.
Yeah. And it relates well, it's just the sort of thing where, I always say that to people. It's just like, oh, look, like we've got like this that, it's probably going to make your life a whole lot better. And, like if you like it, and you want it, we can help you get one, and it's wicked to be able to help people like that is awesome. It's a really fulfilling feeling. So
I'm new to this thing. This is the second one of these we've done. I'm so stoked to have you here as a part of this. Originally,
I'm happy to be here.
We were really trying I was trying to push the date forward to try and get you here before hopefully we were going to go travel overseas, but that didn't quite work out.
No, like I guess I kind of touched on before, like like doing like the hand cycling on the road and stuff like that is something that, like I guess like since my accident, like especially like in the early days, like, gave me, purpose, like, and I guess like, direction to sort of get back into sport and things, and be involved with bikes, in some way, shape or form kind of thing. And I was really hoping to make selection for the Paralympic team for cycling this year. But apparently the powers that be have decided not to send me. So so
is that because of your hair?
I think it's just because of everything. I think more than anything, it's probably because, I don't mind telling them if they're not doing the right thing. So, yeah.
No, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But yeah, anyway, it is what it is kind of thing. I would have really liked to have gone back. And I think, we had, there's an event that I compete in a mixed team relay event where we've been asking for the opportunity to race for nearly 3 years. And in that space of 3 years, we've been given one opportunity to do so. And that one opportunity was earlier this year when we had a World Cup that was actually hosted here in Adelaide, which is really cool. So we had all the world's best sort of people sort of come to Adelaide, to race. I guess like a really important event just in terms of you qualify points through these events for places at the Paralympic Games and things. And so, the final, few months before the cutoff period ends for the points and things like that, everyone wants the points. And, I guess we were given, finally the one opportunity, to race, in this event. And yeah, like we raced and we won. But I guess like a bit of a funny backstory behind it was I'd been riding out on the mountain bike a couple of weeks sort of before, and yeah, just was out with everyone and we're out riding in the forest at Kangarilla, and I had a monster crash. Like it was a bad crash, and yeah, like I kind of ended up sort of not going over the bars, but yeah, going over the bars on an adaptive mountain bike is just basically being a strapped-in passenger and rolling. And yeah, like I'd hit the ground pretty hard and ended up with broken leg and broken ribs kind of thing. And I knew like right away it probably wasn't great, but I got on my road bike the next day and, still trained through and just kept training and, pushing through, knowing that we had this event that are coming up and everything. And so I didn't bother to get checked out or anything because it's just like, whatever it is, like I just need to ride. So
and if your leg's broken, you don't really feel it.
No,
not to make a joke of it.
I know, but like the funny thing is you don't feel it, but then like I get like this really weird neuropathic pain. So I knew something was wrong. So like you don't feel it, but then the rest of your body, like tells you that something, is not happy, and it is painful still. So it's weird, but yeah, anyway, we raced the race. I raced with a broken leg and broken ribs, and we still won, and we won by a week. So, yeah,
but that wasn't enough.
Not enough. So, yeah, apparently the field was not a quality enough field was one of the things that we were told, despite the fact that the reigning Paralympic champions were there, as well as the silver medalists from World Championships only a few months earlier. So, yeah, but doesn't count apparently. So, yeah.
Sounds a bit hard to keep your tongue out of something like that.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. So there's a lot to it, and I'm sure it'll all come out in time, and, people will be held accountable. So, yeah, their time will come. So, yeah. But anyway, it's just a shame that, and I guess like things like that just sort of highlight, riding a mountain bike's just riding a mountain bike, you help someone to get their bike, and, you go out and you ride trails and have fun and laugh and, yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Do that stupid shit.
Yeah, just have fun and, do good things. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty happy just to sort of, let that one sit for a while kind of thing, and, maybe come back to it or whatever. But for right now, like, I'm pretty keen to do some cool stuff with the adaptive bike now, that's for sure. So, yeah.
Yeah, nice. Well, it looks like all of my equipment isn't necessarily up to spec or my delivery of the equipment. So I reckon we might kind of wrap this up. I think the audio's worked. I think this is going to be good. But and I'd definitely love to have you back here. Man, I could do this for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah, same. Let's do it again. I think there's a lot more that we can talk about and do.
But if you were to leave on a note, there's someone out there that's recently had an injury, had an accident. What you got some inspirational advice, and what could you say to that person?
I think there's always something to look forward to. You should always, try and find the positives in things. I don't know, no matter how shitty things can get, like even if it's just like something where you just, having a shitty day at work or whatever or something like that, there's always something good to look forward to, going home to see your kids, loved ones, that sort of thing, or, something you're going to be doing on the weekend, or maybe it's a holiday that you've got planned for a couple of months' time. There's always something to look forward to. And I think it's important to try and find those things to look forward to, on the daily, like wherever, whenever. And it doesn't matter how small or insignificant they seem, look forward to those things and have those things there in mind, and things always get better too. So yeah, the bad times only make you appreciate the good times even more. So yeah.
Nah, killer. Awesome.
No,
On that
good.
note, thank you, Grant Allen.
Thanks, Al.
Thanks, mate.
All good.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That's a wrap.
That is a wrap. Good. Fuck yeah.